I'm joined by Love Thy Nerds mission team lead Luke Filipiak once again for the LTN mission report. How are you doing this morning, Luke?
Oh, I am doing very well. Thank you. A little
So,
bit tired.
yeah, I get it. An LTN team just got back from Gen Con, which is the largest tabletop convention in North America by both attendance and number of events. We had one of our largest contingents of nerds ever on this trip, right? Like, how many
Yeah,
people did
we
we have
had
go?
22 total, 22 missionaries on this trip, it beats our last largest trip by about double.
By about double. Wow.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
our largest was like around 10 or 12 people. Yeah.
wow. So just a lot. I didn't even know we had that many people that wanted to go on these trips. I mean, that's really cool.
You'd be surprised. We had to,
That's right. You had to start turning people away, didn't you?
yeah, just
By the
from,
end.
like space. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want people to have to sleep on a hotel room floor. And so I'm like, hey, I don't have a bed for you. So I'm sorry.
So with that number of people there, how did our team help out at Gen Con this year?
Yeah, so we took this team, and first and foremost, we're there to love and serve our nerdy neighbors. Love people the way Jesus would love people. So we
Mm-hmm.
go where the nerds are at, and we play games, we volunteer in booths, and we just do what we love doing. Use our nerdy passions to further the gospel and to further the love of Jesus. And so one of the big ways that gets us our foot in the door is by volunteering or working with publishers. And so this year we had the opportunity to serve with Funko for the third year in a row. And so 19 out of our 22 people all served in Funko just by demoing games, running the register, using their ticketing system for people that had signed up for scheduled events, different things like that. So,
So what are some of the things that you saw during Gen Con that excited you?
I mean, besides all the games that both like I could get my hands on and couldn't get my hands on,
I would like to
I
know
just
some
love
of
taking
those
our
too.
team.
Yeah.
What was that?
I'd like to hear about some of those too, but
Yeah. We'll dive into that. But
right.
honestly, seeing our team serve both inside and outside the booth, leading up to the event, we do a lot of different trainings. So we train people, train our team on how to serve in the booth or in the room, how to demo a game properly. They get their hands on the games early so they can kind of like study those and get their spiel together because we want them to run it well. But I also encourage them. This is a way I look at it is this is a feet washing mission.
Mm.
There's nothing glamorous about washing feet. Many of the disciples were confused when Jesus, bent down and was washing their feet. But there is a bigger purpose behind that, and that's what we try to do. We just try to love whoever we work with by demoing their games, like accomplishing the task that they put in front of us, but also going the extra mile, um, picking up trash, restocking shelves, what seems like very mundane tasks that actually go a long way for people. But on top of that, we encourage our team to also be encouraging to the staff of the publisher or the company that we're working with. And so we had people on our staff just share words of encouragement and say, hey, you're absolutely crushing this convention, like way to go. We had people write handwritten notes and give them to the staff and different people. We had people like bring in iced lattes, like, hey, yesterday was a long day, here's a pick me up. And like, people just so thankful for that, on the verge of tears, just being that encouragement in the midst of chaos of
Mm-hmm.
upwards of 80,000 people. It just goes a really long way
Yeah,
for
those
people.
little
And so
things
that's probably the
are
most
big
encouraging
deals. Yeah.
thing. The thing that just really got me stoked is our team went above and beyond this year.
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. I saw you, Matt, and Bubba We're walking around, meeting folks, uh, getting to different booths, checking out people. I mean, it's the interacting just with the regular people
Yeah.
working through it. That's a key aspect of it too, right? Not just for
Yeah.
building connections through the business end of it, but
Right.
more building the community little by little.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had quite a
Yeah.
few people. I've been running the socials over that weekend, over that time, and just the number of people that interacted with our social media and even sending us messages
Hmm.
saying, hey, I like them to drop by our booth. We're at this booth right
Hmm.
here.
Yeah.
Send them our way, bring a lanyard, all kind of stuff. That kind of stuff was really, really cool. It felt like I was a little bit a part of it just from,
Yeah.
this end, seeing
Oh
everybody's
yeah. You
reaction.
definitely were.
Yeah. And those things are still
While our
coming in.
Yeah. Well, while our team is like working hard in the booths, like myself, Matt, and Bubba, we're helping manage. We're filling in. Like if our team needs a break, we're um, long story short, one that everything's fine. It was we had one guy have to go to the ER just because of some like sharp pains and stuff. We just wanted to be safe, and so everything's fine. Don't worry. It wasn't a big deal in the end, but we're
Yeah.
happy to take care of our own. But like you got to be on the fly. You got to prepare for that. You have to find somebody to fill in his spot. Like make sure he's getting rest. Like take care of him, but also take care of the people we promised to take care of. And so doing a lot of stuff on the fly, making sure we're managing that, but also, yes, we're walking around meeting people. People are like, hey, I've been in your community for a while. I haven't met any of you guys yet. Can you stop by this booth? I'm like running it all day. And we get to stop by, build those relationships alongside we're meeting people and continuing to build relationships from people we've met in the past. And so we've got relationships like Matt and Bubba specifically have been doing this like 10 years.
Yeah.
And so they have relationships that date all the way back then. But me, I've got relationships I started 3 years ago, and I'm following up like, hey, we got to meet up again. We got to play a game. We got to grab coffee, what have you. And so we're building new relationships. We're strengthening old relationships and building partnerships and like that. And that's a key part of it as well.
Amazing. All right, I got a few fun questions for you real quick. Uh, let's talk about games. What's the game that you did get that you're most excited about?
So I've actually I had a list of like 20 games I wanted to check out. And then on the first day, basically the first morning, I just pinballed around and like just bounced from booth to booth, finding all the games that I knew I wanted to take home.
Mm-hmm.
It was so crowded that first day, like shoulder to shoulder, like in the aisleways. Like it was just so busy and everyone was selling out of games quickly. And so I had a whole list where I'm like, I think I'll like this, so I'm gonna go buy it. And so I didn't actually play any of the games that I bought until I
Right.
got home. But one of them was added last minute to my list to check out, and it's called Wild Tiled West. Um,
Wild
and
Tiled
it's from
West.
Dire Wolf. And it's a game. You could play 5 people, but you're rolling dice that coordinate to call like this grid, like columns and rows of different tiles that you can draft. So you roll these dice, and then if you roll a 14, it goes in the 14 slot, and you can pull from that immediate row. If you roll an 8, it goes in a column, and you can pull from that immediate row. Everyone takes a turn drafting. You're taking these tiles that give you different rewards or points or different actions, and you're placing them on your map. And you're basically building a old western town, like wrangling cattle, um, hiring sheriffs to take out the bandits. Like there's just all sorts of things. It's super fun. It's a fun theme, and I'm a sucker for any game that has tiles that I can build things. It's super fun. So played that the other night at our game night here, our LTN game night in New Albany. If you're in Southern Indiana, you should come out to that. It's the first Wednesday of the month. But we did that, and it quickly shot up to one of my top favorite games. It's that good.
That's awesome. All right, biggest regret. What game did you really want that you didn't get?
Um, I would honestly say I don't have any regrets.
Yeah,
This is like Gen Con's just kind of the first place you can get your hands on things. And
sure.
so, like, we've got Star Wars Rivals. Like, all of us went home with some Star Wars Rivals from Funko. Matt and I get back and we're like, oh, we really should have gotten some booster packs. And like, we go like look online and it's like releasing September. And we're like,
Oh,
no, we gotta wait with everyone else. So I wouldn't say I regret anything, but there was one that myself, Matt, and Bubba tried to pick up, and it's called Sky Team. It's a two-player game, co-op, so you're working together to land a plane. So you have to like clear the runway, you gotta tweak everything, you gotta make sure all the, you know, just everything's in order to safely land a plane, and you're working together. It's from the same guys that make like Turing Machine and
oh, okay.
games like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
From those guys. Turing
So
Machine looks
we
interesting.
tried to, all three of us tried to snag that throughout the week because most publishers would kind of like a lot, you know, like, okay, we've got 75 to 100 copies and we're releasing them every morning just to
Right. That way it
stretch
wouldn't
it out.
all go out
Give
on the first
people,
day.
you know, like
Yeah.
on Saturday a chance that only have a Saturday badge. We had exhibitor badges, so sometimes we'd be able to get in early and make some purchases. But that one, they're like, just to make it fair to everyone, which I really appreciated this. They're like, we're only releasing 15 copies to exhibitors at 9:30. So exhibitors can come, but like everything else is reserved for everyone else. And I'm like, I told him audibly, I'm like, thank you for doing that. That's very fair. And then walked away with my hands empty. But yeah, Sky Team,
Sky Team.
keep an eye out for that.
All
It's
right.
it's a really good one.
That sounds interesting. One last thing, something that Gen Con hyped a lot, almost as much as just the convention itself, on their social media, was the food that was going to be available at Gen Con.
Oh yeah.
So I want to know what your favorite thing you ate was at Gen Con.
All right. There was one day where I ate terribly. Like every day was just awful because you're eating food truck food for 4 days straight. But like there was one day, woke up and I'm like, there's this like food cart like on our walk in, and I told me and Jeff, or I didn't tell myself, I told Jeff, I'm gonna stop there and just get like a iced coffee or like a hot coffee or something. And then I think they have like donuts and a breakfast sandwich or something. And so we're in line. It's very long. By the time we get up there, we notice that the breakfast sandwich is the bread is a donut. So they cut a like cake donut in half, and then it's like sausage, egg, and cheese on a donut. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm in for that. It was actually very good. It was very sweet. Like halfway through, I'm like, I'm just gonna eat the inside, but it was surprisingly good. Like the pairing with the sweet and savory,
Yeah.
and then my hot coffee. It was very good. And then for lunch, I had a Korean corn dog. And if I mean, like, you know what a corn dog is, but like a Korean corn dog is just like fully loaded. So it was a hot dog wrapped in bacon, and then like bread it, or like the you know, they dip it in the like whatever breading,
Cornbread. Yeah.
whatever, yeah. And then they roll it in your pick of chips. So I got like you could get like Doritos or like all sorts of things. I got the sour cream and cheddar Ruffles. So they roll it in that, deep fry it, and then like drizzle it with all sorts of stuff. I got like spicy mayo.
Goodness gracious.
And it was like
yeah.
it was huge. And it was fantastic. I would 10 out of 10 would go back. I need more of those in my life. And they have a breakfast version that is like a sausage link wrapped in bacon, dipped in pancake batter, and then rolled in your choice of cereal. And my friend got
Holy
Cocoa
cow.
Puffs.
Holy cow. That one right
So,
there.
It's
That's
just a dream
crazy.
come true.
Yeah.
So
It's probably a good thing I didn't go on this trip. Let's just say that.
we'll get you on the next one.
Speaking of, why should someone consider joining a future trip, and how could they do that?
Like I said before, this is your opportunity to use your nerdy passion for a greater purpose. We do this in everything we do at LTN is we're trying to produce good content. We're producing articles, all sorts of stuff, Twitch streams, like you name it. We're doing that to further the gospel, to tell nerds that Jesus loves them. And so if you are a board game nerd, and I'll say this, if you're a video game nerd or a comic book nerd, we have high expectations, high goals, big goals to go to like Comic Cons and anime expos and like video game industry conventions, like all sorts of stuff, all to use your nerdy passion to reach nerds and nerd culture. And so if that interests you, right now, our next big one is PAX Unplugged. That's the first weekend of December. The information is on lovethynerd.com/outreach. But if you go there, PAX Unplugged's the first weekend of December. It's in Philly. This one is right around 40,000 people, I believe. It might be bigger if it follows the trend of Gen Con. But that one's in Philly, right next to Reading Station, which has a lot of really good food as well. The most authentic. Wow, that was really hard for me to say for some reason. But the most authentic Philly cheesesteaks you could get, obviously, in Philly. Wow. But yeah, I would say just the main purpose is being able to use your nerdy passion to further the gospel and tell nerds that Jesus loves them. We had several people come up to us and just say, like, hey, like the people that, reached out on Facebook, and then somebody overheard me giving an interview for someone's TikTok, and they came over and they're like, that's really cool that you can take your faith and your hobby and like combine that to further Jesus's love. So
yeah, and that's really where those connections come in is, at the event itself, you might not actually be, seeing any kind of kingdom progress right before your eyes, aside from just, loving people like we should.
Yeah.
But that stuff starts to come in post the event. People get more, they're like, oh, we're going to get involved with this community. That's when doors open. That's when conversations can be had. That's when fences can be mended, bridges can be built, all these kinds of things that we as the church should be trying to do, connecting these two cultures together. So again, that is lovethynerd.com/outreach to see the upcoming events. And you can sign up there too, right? Like you can put in the forum for information, see if you can join. So you can always also just reach out to Luke directly if you'd like. You can email him, luke@lovethynerd.com, or connect to him on Facebook, Discord, Twitch, Twitter, anywhere you have him. Awesome. He's there. Well, thank you for joining us for the LTN Mission Report. Luke, you have a fantastic morning, my friend.